Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sisters of the Strange. I'm Shae.
And I'm Landrey. And this week we are going to be talking about the Stallings family haunting.
Ooh.
Ah. We have a ton of new followers. We've gotten a lot. We went like viral times 12. That was really cool.
That was crazy. Totally unexpected. So if you're here from that, welcome.
Welcome to whatever this is.
To whatever this is. We're not sure either.
Yeah. But we figured we'd reintroduce ourselves. I'm Landry.
I'm Shae.
We are actually sisters.
Correct.
You'll learn as you go through our old episodes, but we are actually sisters. We are both pregnant.
Yes, that we are as well. That's a new development.
And we grew up in a haunted house, which is what kind of got us into all of this.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. We had a little family ghost. His name was Gus. We talked about him through whoa. Hello. We've talked about him before throughout all of our past episodes, so you'll get to learn about him as you listen. And anything beyond little?
I don't think so. I think you get to find out a lot about us in the early episodes.
Yeah.
You know? And everything kind of goes in order. I know a lot of people listen to stuff like out of order, like based on what they want to listen to.
Yeah.
But you don't really understand what's going on with us if you care. If you don't care, then it doesn't matter. But like if you do care, we go in, obviously episodes go in order when we talk about things that are going on in our lives and reasons why we're here and our own personal ghost stories and hauntings and things like that.
Yeah.
That's all in the earlier episodes. So if you want to learn more about us,
just keep listening.
Definitely listen to the first episode because that one's the most detailed.
I think so, yeah.
And then you can skip all the other early episodes.
Yeah, then you don't have to listen to those. We got a comment the other day that said, "What's with the auto-tune?" We were learning.
Yeah, I said that was when we had no idea what was going on.
No,
she was like, "That's fair."
Complete work in progress, trying to figure out all of this. We've actually had people message us and they're like, "How do y'all have y'all stuff set up?" And I do not gatekeep. I message back and I'm like, "We have our microphones here, plugged into this, we use this." I will tell you everything because it was so hard to figure out how to set all of this up. Like YouTube had answers, but you still had to piece it together from there. So I will tell you.
It was a work in progress for sure. A labor of love, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. But I guess if that's it, then we can talk about this here Stallings family.
I think so. Thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah.
All you new people, if you're here from there.
I know. I'm still just blown away by it.
We have been trying to grow our Instagram for so long.
And our YouTube.
And overnight, we gained 10,000 followers. 15,000 followers, really.
Yeah, I think our video is almost at 3 million views.
Oh, I haven't even looked at it since it hit 1 million.
Yeah, it's at like 2.7.
And it wasn't even like...
Not even like a intense.
To be fair, like it was a good episode, but it wasn't one that was like, that we were like excited, like, oh, this is going to be so good. It was just kind of like one that we were like, oh, like this would be a cool, interesting episode. We might try this and see what happens.
Well, then that part of that also kind of made me be like, what the heck? Because it's not something I like dove into. Yeah. There's so many episodes, especially recently, that I have like really like dived off, like the alien hybridization, the hypnosis one. Like I really did a ton of research on those. And those aren't the ones that like.
And the TikTok comments really did it for us.
And that was it. And I was like, what in the world? But the cool thing about it is we've gone viral before on TikTok. But only on TikTok. This video is placed on TikTok, YouTube, like YouTube Shorts, Instagram, all over the place. And everywhere it blew up.
It blew up. Just so strange. So crazy. I'm very thankful. Very excited. Very glad with everything that came from it.
But thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you and welcome. And we're glad you're here. And everybody sit down and shut up and listen.
Shut up, listen. Seatbelts on. Okay, so we will start with Miss Nancy. So Nancy had recently gotten a divorce. It is early 1964. She's trying to rebuild her social life. She has 3 kids, newly divorced. So she finds this group called Parents Without Partners.
Okay.
And she realized when she was in this group that pretty much everyone there was like way older than her. She said some of the girls were her age, but like everyone else was really old. And she was like, okay, and like went and joked to somebody about it. And like to another man, and was joking with him about how there's no one there her age. And he said, actually, I have one person your age or around your age. Let me introduce you. And so this was Ron Stallings that she got introduced to.
A man.
A man.
A man.
A man. And they ended up kind of hitting it off. He also had 3 children, also was recently divorced. So they were going through a lot of the same things.
Wow.
And Ron had asked for her phone number. And she was like, actually, yes, I want to give it to you. But I'm not going to lie to you. I just got a new phone number and I don't know it. It's not an excuse. I just truly do not know it.
Fair.
So hopefully I run into you again with my phone number. And at the next meeting, he was there and she was there and she took her phone number. And from there, they started to date and kind of court each other. He proposes at some point
Court
in time.
each other is crazy.
Okay. Okay. Let me do that again. That's my second time. Okay. I'll do it again.
Peppers on the side.
Please. We're laughing because I went and got food on the way here. And I don't know where any of y'all live. There's a wonderful place here called Taco Casa. And I almost think it is
It's
in the
fast
state
food tacos.
It is, but it's so good. And I think it's only in the state of Texas. But anyways, got Taco Casa. And if you order nachos, they always say peppers on the side. And so before they could even say it, I just was like, nachos, peppers on the side, going on with my order. And the girl was like, they're always on the side. I said, okay. And I kept ordering my food. Like, dang, girl.
It's still funny.
I'm like, I've eaten here my whole life. I said, okay. Kept going.
Sorry.
It blew me away. It just was kind of not very friendly. So that's why I was like, okay.
Yeah, rude.
Like, we could have a better attitude.
Right. Don't have to be ugly about it.
Anyways, maybe she was just having a bad day. I don't know. She was not very friendly. And all I had back was, okay. And I just kept going because I didn't even know how to respond. Like, I didn't know if I should just like continue on with my order or what. So but I said, okay. And I paused for a second and then I was like,
I'm going to keep ordering.
I should keep ordering.
Moving right along.
Anyways, so they're courting each other.
Sure. Whatever that means.
Whatever. He proposes, and not long after their engagement, Nancy starts to have this dream. And she does not only have this dream one time, but she keeps having like this reoccurring dream. And in the dream, her and Ron have purchased this large old house out in the country. She felt comfortable enough in it. She, in her dream, knew where all the rooms were. And in her dream, she walks into the kitchen and she's looking out the window and she sees 2 men are arguing. And she couldn't really like distinguish their faces, but one of them did look similar to Ron, which is who she's dating, proposed, or engaged to. And during this dream, the voices were growing louder. They were yelling at each other more. One of the men picked up an axe and hit the other man who looked like Ron.
Okay. Scary dream.
So then her dream shifted and she's no longer inside the house. She's standing in the backyard, staring back into the house. And she sees that the 2 men were standing there together, watching her, smiling and laughing. And it seemed to her that they had enjoyed scaring her because they scared her whenever she sees this confrontation outside.
Right.
And after that, she wakes up. Like, that's the dream. But
Okay.
she has this dream multiple times. And so at first she kind of dismissed the dream. She was thinking like maybe wedding planning, maybe blending these 2 families together.
Yeah.
Searching for a home because they were searching for a home. So maybe she was thinking maybe all of this was just stress of trying to find the right place, the right time, the right everything.
Right.
She did decide, though, they will not look for an old house in the country from that dream. She was like, I will at least listen to that. Not going to look in the country. Not doing it.
It's probably a smart idea.
I would listen.
Yeah.
I would listen to that. I listen to my dreams pretty heavily, and that's probably one of the ones I'd be like,
yeah.
So, and if I walk into a house and it looks like anything like that or the kitchen or anything,
We out.
we're good. We're not buying this house. So in August of 1965, they're house hunting. And between them, they had 6 children ranging from age 2 to 7.
Ugh.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of young children.
That's a lot going on at one time.
Wow.
So they needed space. They needed a house that had enough room, but they were only working off Ron's income because she was going to stay home with, they're 2 through 7. So
Yeah.
like 2 of them maybe are in school. The rest are all at home. Daycare is not cheap. So she's going to stay home, and it puts them on a very tight budget. They knew that they weren't going to be able to buy a house that was just like a move-in ready, the size they needed for their budget. So they were okay with the fixer-upper.
Right.
They're like, we can handle the fixer-upper. We can do this. Ron's kind of handy around the house. I'm good at decorating. We can handle that.
7 kids all the time in the world.
1,000. Oh, it's
Yeah.
6 kids right now.
Oh,
They
sorry.
They end up having,
6 kids.
They will have 7, but
I don't know where 7 came from.
the
So
oldest
that's
kid
weird.
is 7. 2 to 7
Oh,
years
the
old.
oldest one is 7. Got it.
But still, either way, 6 kids is a lot.
Yeah.
And their budget was, drumroll, $8,000. Which today is only like $82,000. So still,
No.
there's nothing we can do with that here.
Mm-mm.
I don't think.
Nada.
Unless you are willing to buy a haunted house, which seems to be what is going to happen to them, right?
Yeah.
But she did, by the end of the month, come across a classified advertisement for a house that was described as a handyman special. The property was located in Baltimore's Hamilton neighborhood, so in Baltimore.
Maryland.
But is in an area that was known for quiet streets, older homes, peaceful, nice, tree-lined street, like a good, nice place to be, right? And when they arrived, they weren't shocked. The house is exactly as it was advertised, a handyman special. It was a large 2-story cottage that had definitely had better days. It had paint peeling from the walls, the plaster was cracked, and there was years of neglect that was definitely obvious. It was also large enough for all 6 children. Everyone could have their own rooms. So it just seemed like the perfect, they could get it within their budget. It also had stuff that Nancy wasn't really looking for. Like she didn't expect to be able to get like hardwood floors or stained glass windows. Like it had some amenities that.
Yeah,
like,
this just sounds like a
nice.
horror movie in motion, baby.
1,000%. It's just perfectly falling into place, but like in a very scary way.
Yeah.
Everything was great until Nancy walked through the front door. And immediately she was like, kind of feels heavy, kind of feels stale, kind of feels strange.
But at what point?
She was like, but it's probably just like because the wallpaper is peeling and the ceilings are cracked. Like that's
And
probably
it's
why it feels
full
this
of
way.
asbestos. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, maybe if it's like cleaned and windows are opened and things like that, it won't feel so bad.
Yeah, it won't be so stuffy in here.
Maybe. Probably not.
Red flag. Red flag.
Yeah. Anytime I walk into a place and I'm like, immediately, I can look at a picture of a house and be like, no,
Ugh.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Like there was
Knowing
one time,
that feeling now.
yeah, 1,000%. Like having been in a house that has that, where you're like,
Yeah.
just on edge.
When you walk into that stillness and your whole body's on edge. Yeah. No thanks.
Yeah, that's the scariest part about house hunting right now. Is I'm like,
No old houses. But nobody wants to buy a spec home either.
no,
So
I
it's
don't want
like,
to spec home. But
just-
I also trust my intuition enough to be able to walk in and be like, no. There's certain homes Aaron has sent me before and I've looked at the pictures and said, no. So God bless a gut feeling.
Amen, sister.
So this house is being sold by an elderly woman who's been living there, but her son is arranging the sale. Like he's the one handling all of it. She's still alive. She's just like older and
Sounds scary.
A little bit. Sounds a little bit nerve-wracking, right? We're already not liking any of this.
Yeah.
Her son had explained that she had spent decades in the house and she'd been able to, like, recently has been unable to care for, like, herself and the size of the home. And that's why it's kind of in this state of disrepair.
Yeah.
Because she's just older and it's a big house and it's her by herself. And,
Ugh.
then that's why he was like, that's why we're listing it so low, because we don't really need
her
it
out of
and
it.
we need to get her out of it. And we just really need to cover like her hospital bills and the bills she acquired and just little things like that. But there's also a story where a few months earlier, the family's gardener had arrived for routine work. And when he tried to get to the door, no one came and answered. And so he looked through the windows and he had seen the elderly lady laying on the floor of the house. And he went in there and was trying to help her and everything like that. And she was alive, but she had just been like, she had fallen and couldn't get up.
This was before Life Alert, everybody.
I was just about to say, there's no Life Alert at this point in time. Or even the Apple Watches now,
Mhm.
you can set it to where it'll say like they've had a hard fall or whatever. My grandpa has one, and he is not that old at all. And he said he's just fine health. He was out mowing or doing something, and he said he like tripped or whatever, and it started calling my grandmother right away, and she started panicking, and he was like, no, but because he didn't have time to like tell it not to. He was like, I'm fine. He was like, I hate this thing. But she makes him wear it.
Yeah. Definitely before Apple Watch.
Yeah. So comes out a few years later that the elderly woman actually said, I didn't just fall. Something had pushed me. And then she couldn't get up. And she said she actually laid there for 3 days before she was found.
That's detrimental to an old person.
That's terrifying.
Oh my God.
But they didn't know any of that when they agreed to buy this house.
Sure.
That was something that came up later after all of this. And so closing day came and went. They paid their whatever, signed the papers, did all the things. And as they were leaving and going to get back into their car, the son of the elderly lady approached them and in a very sinister way said, I hope y'all are good fighters.
Ah!
And they were like, And they looked at each other like, what in the hell? Nancy didn't really know what to think about it. Ron was like, maybe he means we're about to have bad neighbors.
Ask questions, please, for the love of God.
Well, they said by the time they were done thinking about it, he was already like walking away.
What a creep ass.
I'm putting that van in reverse and catching up to him.
Put it in reverse, Terry.
Terry, reverse now, and asking him, what?
What? Excuse me, what did you say?
Louder, say it for the people in the back.
Yeah.
Let me know. But they were like, okay. They took it, but they were wondering, like, what does this mean?
Strike one.
Strike 5.
Fair.
Strike 5. But weeks later, they finally are able to get unpacked, get into the house, have all their belongings there. The children, you're finally getting your own room. So they're excited. They all run in the house and they're all looking for their own rooms. It reminds me very much of Cheaper by the Dozen, where they're walking into their new house and scattering to find the perfect room. But aside from all the excitement and all the movement and all of this, Nancy still had a feeling of just not something right. Like she still couldn't shake it. She was like, this is such an exciting day and something still just feels wrong.
Mm-hmm.
She said that people up and down the street were sitting on their porches watching a move, which also added to the discomfort. And she was like, well, maybe that is why I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, because we're being watched.
Yeah. And she's like, maybe they're just curious, whatever. Yeah. But she also was remembering the I hope you're good fighters line and was like, is it about our neighbor? Like, is it like only solidified more? Is it about our neighbors? We don't know. But over the next several days, the family threw themselves into moving, making the house their house. Everything was fine. And one day when Nancy was upstairs, she was trying to like kind of undo some of the boxes and clean and organize. And she was hoping she could kind of freshen up the room by opening the windows and just make it feel better in there. But she went to raise a window and it wouldn't open. And at first she was like, oh, it's just been sealed shut, like paint wise. Mm-hmm. I just need to like loosen it up, get it open. No, she realized it was nailed shut with like a construction nail. So she went to the next window and it was the same way. And she went to the next window and it was the same way. So then she went to another room and went to that window and it was the same way. The whole entire second floor, every window had been construction nailed shut.
No, thank you.
And so at this point, Ron and her are like, okay, maybe we should make the kids stay downstairs. Instead of them all having their own rooms, maybe we put them all in there's 3 bedrooms that we can put them in downstairs. Like Ron and her have her room and then there's 3 more down there. So maybe we can just
double them up,
divide and conquer downstairs because that just doesn't seem right. Let's figure it out first, right? So they're all downstairs. And at some point in time after this, a neighbor had come by probably with a plate of cookies, welcoming them to the neighborhood, whatever it may have been. And Nancy did ask, like, do you know if there was anything strange going on here? Like why the windows would be nailed shut, maybe? And the neighbor said, oh, it was just the old lady. Like she was kind of crazy,
Sure.
Whatever. She was convinced someone was sneaking in through her upstairs windows and moving her things around.
All right.
And so she asked her son to nail all the windows closed. And Nancy just took that. I would have been like, okay, but who's breaking in?
Yeah. Do we have to find the person?
Do I
like,
still need to be
y'all
concerned?
see the people? Yeah.
Yeah, like what are we missing?
Should I take the nails out or no?
Yeah, what do I do? But over the next several weeks, Ron and Nancy just continued settling into their new home, getting comfortable. And at some point in time, their son, the oldest son, Alan, had said like they would go 1 or 2 weeks where it would be like all this weird stuff would happen and then nothing for a couple of months. So like they're getting all these strange feelings right now, but they kind of go in spurts where it's able to like, they can handle it. And then they go in spurts where they can't handle it. And so that's where this story kind of will follow that pattern. So when you're asking like, why haven't they moved? Why haven't they moved? Well, they also have
start to
silent,
get better.
They have like silent months. So Nancy kind of hoped that like the feeling would go away once they got more settled and all of that. And like I said, there would be weeks where it would feel fine and then it wouldn't. But her oldest son, Alan, said that the house always felt gloomy. He said it always had a creepy feeling. He said it felt like something had happened there before and that something could potentially happen there again. Like it was just like a feeling of like impending doom, basically. And at first it was just like simple, small things where it was like, okay, whatever. Like the faucets would turn themselves on sometimes, or like the lights would flicker and
harmless things.
They'd write it off. It's an old house. It's okay. But one evening, Nancy and Alan were in the kitchen together and they were doing dishes. That's her oldest son.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing dishes and she was hand washing them and then she would hand them to Alan and he would dry them and put them away or put them in the drying rack. And she had turned completely towards him, away from the sink, away from the drying rack to talk to Alan. And whenever she turned back around, the drying rack was now on the other side of the sink. And her and Alan looked at each other like what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who did that? Because they were the only ones in there and they were looking at one another. And all of a sudden it's moved to the other side.
Yeah. But there's more mischievous things to do than move the drying rack.
Yeah, I'd be like slamming doors and stuff.
Yeah.
I think I'd be like really wanting to freak you out. So they noticed this little small thing. It's another one of the occurrences that they're like, maybe we're just wrong. I don't know. We experienced it together, but maybe we'll write it off. And at this point, though, Nancy is like, all right. And she's starting to tally it up really trying to tally up at what's going on. And she said she started to notice that there was actually differences in everyone's personalities as well. Like everyone in the house was starting to pick up bad moods or have bad attitudes or bicker more. Mm-hmm. She said that the kids had always kind of merged. Like when they merged well and there was no issue there. And now all of a sudden they kind of have issues and they're kind of fighting or bickering with one another. Her and Ron are kind of arguing. And she's like, this is odd, but maybe it also is just the stress of combining family and being in a new home and especially a fixer-upper and one income, like all of the things in life just like adding up. But a month later, after all of this, there was something that they couldn't really dismiss as easy as
all the other stuff.
The little small things that they were dismissing. This one was a larger thing. So Ron and Nancy decided they were going to go on a night out together. And they were leaving the kids home alone with Ron's sister.
Okay.
And when they got home, Ron's sister was like, yeah, the children were great. We had a wonderful time. But she kind of had like a weird vibe to her.
Like she was ready to get out of there probably.
Yes. And so
everything
Nancy
was great. Gotta go, bye.
Yeah. Already standing at the door with her bag like, I'm so happy you're here. Bye. No, but Ron and Nancy had asked her like, are you good? Why are you acting like that if everything was great? And she said, well, once all the kids went to sleep, I was in the living room watching TV and I got the feeling that I was being watched. And I thought maybe one of the kids was awake and kind of messing with me. And so I walked down the hall and whenever I did that, at the bottom of the staircase was an elderly woman.
Oh, hell no.
She was wearing an old-fashioned dress and had a bonnet on and never said anything, just looked at me, but looked at me with such hatred, like anger, just completely mad at me. And then all of a sudden, she just disappeared. Like, poof, gone. And she thought maybe I imagined it. Maybe I am asleep right now. I don't know. But she realized, like, no, I'm totally not asleep. It definitely happened. Ron tried to reassure her, and he was like, there's got to be an explanation. But it did unsettle him and Nancy both. They both were like, they didn't like that, especially on top of everything that's happening. It did start to kind of like really freak them out at this point.
Ugh. That's scary.
Well, I imagined whenever I'm thinking of that scene in particular, you're at someone else's house, you're babysitting their kids. And instead of imagining like another elderly lady, I imagine a kid that isn't one of the kids I'm babysitting being in the house. And it's a ghost.
Yeah.
So I imagine just like a creepy little boy.
I think an old lady's scarier, bro.
They're both creepy. They're not supposed to be there.
Correct.
So
anything.
So either one of them is not really something I'm fond of.
Ugh. But like, how do you dismiss that in any way, shape, or form?
I think that when you have no choice, when you're stuck in this house, you have to try and make some sort of peace. Because financially, where are they going to go?
Yeah, that's true.
They can't just go get a hotel.
Yeah.
There's 8 of them. You can't just go, hey, can I come stay the night? Oh, well, where are all 8 of you going to sleep? You know?
Yeah.
It's just not as easy. But one of the things that made this get more solidified is Janet was like, okay, well, it's not just happening to me now. Like, I'm not the only one
Who's
noticing
Janet?
it. Or not Janet.
Nancy.
Janet was the babysitter.
Oh, okay.
One of the things now that Nancy is like, okay, so it's not only happening to me because it did happen to Janet. Now Ron's hearing about it and he's kind of like, yeah, there has been some weird stuff. Alan kind of has stuff going on. That's one of the things is it's happening to everybody, but no one's talking about it.
Until it's like happening and then it's like, oh, well, actually, I did have this.
Yeah. But it's like no one's talked about it. And so now it's kind of coming out and it's like, oh, so you actually are like.
You're noticing stuff too.
Yeah, it's not just me.
Okay.
Cool. Great. So I'm not just going crazy.
I'm not losing my mind.
Yes. And so as they are able to talk about it, this is when Alan starts to be able to tell them like he hears heavy boots outside of his room at night. He'd hear them like coming around the stairs, coming around the landings, all of this. And he knew it wasn't his parents and he would be terrified, but he never worked up the courage to go look at what it was. It never came into his room. It was always just outside in the hallway, but he was always too scared to go look.
So it seems like it could be possibly a different entity.
Yeah, because heavy boots is not matching
old lady
with a bonnet.
No.
We're about to talk about this potential second entity here. So not long after all of this with Alan, Nancy one morning is asleep and became aware of something or someone touching her. And I mean like touching her.
Like fondling her.
Touching her.
Ooh.
She's assuming it's her husband.
Okay.
You know?
But it's not.
No.
Ah.
She's not scared at first because she's like, oh, okay, Ron. I like it. But I'm also irritated because I'm asleep. Don't wake me up.
I'm sleeping.
Yeah. Not a morning person. Don't touch me. And then she realized she couldn't move. She couldn't say, no, don't do this. No, stop. She was like in a paralysis. She couldn't push him away. She said that she felt like she'd been drugged. Her mind was awake, but her body was asleep, which is sleep paralysis. But she could see a man standing over her when she got her eyes open. But she couldn't distinguish his face. She said it felt out of focus, but it felt familiar. So, like, is this the second figure that was arguing with Ron in her previous dream?
Ooh, spooky.
I don't know. But she said as suddenly as it had come on, he disappeared and the paralysis ended. She sat up in bed. She was frightened. She was confused. She tried to collect herself. Like I said, she thought it was maybe her husband. So she had asked Ron, like she called him and was like, hey, were you late to work today? Like, were you still at the house at this time? Like,
you try to wake me up.
Yeah. Did you touch me? You know, whatever. And he's like, no, I left a long time ago.
She's like, first of all, rude.
Do that next time.
Second of all,
his commute, though, was not like a quick commute. He had to drive like hour and a half away. So she realized if that was him, he wouldn't have been able to answer his phone at work yet either.
Oh, yeah. So he was gone. Yeah.
So he's gone because he answered the phone when she called.
Well, maybe she could have just been dreaming and having a good dream and then happened to wake up and see this man standing over her. And maybe it just was coincidence that it happened back to back.
But this incident happened again. So she woke up with... It
wasn't a coincidence.
Yeah, no, she woke up with the unmistakable sensation that something was lying on top of her. Once again, she assumed it was her husband because it's at nighttime this time. He is home. She turns her head and her husband's asleep beside her. So the figure above her was someone else. And this time she was fully awake from the moment she opened her eyes. So she's not sleeping. She's not in sleep paralysis. She said the man appeared transparent. She could see like her dresser on the other side of him or, you know, through him. And his features did remain somewhat indistinct. Like she still really couldn't see all of his features, but she could, you see this average sized man over her, dark hair, muscular build, somewhere in his 40s. Like she could tell certain things about him, but not distinct features about him. And she knew immediately. She was like, this is the same figure as last time. This is the same encounter. Like, this is it. Except this time, like I said, she's not paralyzed because she's not in that sleep paralysis state. So like how you said, maybe she was mixing the two together.
No, definitely.
No, totally could be because
yeah,
she's still seeing the same figure here and she's not paralyzed this time. So she could have been having sleep paralysis and seeing him. And now it's, so what you said is could be. So she remained fully conscious throughout the entire experience. Didn't try and end it, did nothing, just was like laying there. As soon as it disappeared, she was like, I wasn't scared. I didn't mind that. It was confusing, but it didn't try to harm me. She kind of liked it.
Okay.
Okay, Nancy.
I feel like there's some questions that need to be answered here.
Well, that was it. She didn't want to tell anyone about it after this. Like she experienced these things.
And she was like, okay.
She was like, I'm going to keep these to myself because if I like tell people, they're going to be like, you're delusional or unstable. And I have 6 kids to worry about that I don't,
Okay.
So she kind of keeps it to herself.
I mean, okay, that's fair.
And so now at this point, so I've told you before that Alan has never seen the figure before. He's tried to chase it down, has tried to have an encounter with it, and it's never worked. But this time, Alan does get to see this figure. So Alan woke up in the middle of the night and walked down the hallway to get a drink of water. The house was silent. He stood at the bathroom sink drinking water, which is weird. I think I would be drinking water like in the kitchen or something or whatever, but that's fine. And he heard a noise coming from further down the hallway. And at first he assumed it was like one of his parents. They must be awake, or one of the other 500 kids that are in his house. And he stepped out of the hallway and looked down the hallway, and he saw the outline of a man emerge from the far end of the hallway. He said the figure began to walk towards him, and he realized like that is clearly nobody that belongs in this household.
Yeah.
So he ran back to his room, sprinted down the hallway, all of the things. He's sharing a room with his brother. As I've mentioned, they all got, dispersed to share rooms. So slams the door behind him, gets in bed, hides under his blankets, hears the footsteps continuing towards him, hears the bedroom door open, doorknob, all of the things. He held his breath. The door slowly creaks open. He heard that the footsteps didn't come any further than that. Like the only noise beyond the footsteps coming down the hallway was the door opening. And that was it. But like once the door opened, everything stopped.
It's like it's been getting closer and closer and closer, but like stopping before it gets.
Yeah.
It's like going in stages.
Don't like it.
No. This man's brave. This ghost. This entity.
Whatever it is. And Alan was brave enough to look outside of his blankets after that, and the bedroom door was open, but nothing was there.
You wouldn't catch me coming up for air.
Actually, I don't know. I'd want to yell it, like sharing a room with you. I'd want to be like, well, there was multiple times we did talk to each other, but there was also multiple times where
we were both already awake.
Yeah. Or I would just be frozen. Like I wanted to be like, hello, Shae, wake up. But I was too scared to say anything because I was scared if I said something like the blankets would be ripped off the bed or something,
Yeah.
So
just ignore it.
Yeah. So I would just lay there and I'd be like, eyes closed, as quiet as possible. Don't move. Don't breathe.
Or if we would both wake up and then just be like, quietly acknowledge what was happening.
Yeah. Normally, I feel like when things happen, we would both be awake at this. Like it would wake both of us up. But there was times where I remember being like, I want to say something to you, but I'd be too scared to say something to you because I'd feel like if I said something, then they would, whatever it was,
know I was awake.
Probably already knew I was awake anyway.
Right.
But still. But this was not Alan's only encounter with this figure either. Well, we don't know if it's this figure or maybe angry old lady. He'd gone upstairs for something, and when he was coming back downstairs, he got pushed down the stairs. Unmistakable
that could have been
feeling.
angry old lady.
Yeah, unmistakable feeling. He was like, no, those were hands on my back, and I was pushed down the stairs. That was not just me falling down the stairs. So he does have another encounter. So Alan is getting a lot of it. It's Alan and Nancy seem to be the targets here. So as I mentioned, the family's starting to talk about everything that's happening. So when Alan falls down the stairs, he very openly is like, I just got pushed down the stairs.
Yeah.
He doesn't try and hide it. And it kind of scares his parents because they're like, okay, it really is getting worse now. We've already been kind of talking about these things. Everyone is really having all these experiences. But at this point in time, Nancy's pregnant. She's about to give birth. So she's going to the hospital. So Nancy, when she's at the hospital, she's like, oh, nice. Like I get to relax. Maybe I actually get to sleep.
Go off, Nancy.
Since I'm not in a haunted house anymore.
Yeah.
No, this is where Nancy learns that whatever is in the house with them at home will also leave the house with her.
Oh, so it really likes her.
So it's not only isolated to the house. So they can't just leave to escape whatever is happening to their family. She said that when she was in the hospital room, like Ron's probably at home with all the kids. He's not there. She's getting some rest. She's by herself at the hospital. And there was a shadow figure in her room with her, which is that's just something from the hospital. But she said it felt like the figure from their home.
Her boyfriend?
Her
I'm sorry.
baby daddy? The baby daddy? At this rate, is that the baby daddy?
I don't know. I was going to say that earlier. Who's the dad? But I didn't want to make that joke.
It really is giving American Horror Story.
It
That's
really
exactly
is.
like
It
where
really
my brain
is.
goes.
Yeah.
But she said that it just was like this unmistakable feeling that someone was standing there. She knew she wasn't alone. She knew she could see something. It was on the other side of the curtain. So she could like see it on the other side of the curtain in the hospital.
Ugh.
Just very unsettling, and realized that it could go wherever they went. And they wanted to move, but they had a lot of their money invested in the house. Selling wouldn't be easy. It would take time to find a buyer, and they just had to stay. So Ron decided to ask his uncle, who was a Catholic priest, if he would come like do a blessing on the house.
Okay.
Which his uncle, for whatever reason, was like, I don't believe you and your experiences, but like, I'll come do it. Sure.
All right. Go
Whatever.
off.
So he comes and he does blessings on the house. They hold a mass in the living room, like everything.
Wow.
Does a full force, like, we're going to bless the home, make it feel nice, right? And once he left, everything felt okay. Like they just felt calm, whether it was a placebo effect or not. Like they were feeling good. And all of the kids went to bed. Ron and Nancy decided they were going to sit up and watch TV together. And all of a sudden, they hear commotion, just insane commotion outside the front door. Like shit's hitting the door. The porch sounds like it's being ran up and down. Like there's just all sorts of noise. And they look outside and they say there's a tricycle like going down the porch without anything on it.
No.
Toys are flying across. And Ron realizes the only place that his uncle did not bless was the porch.
So they're just all partying on the porch.
Everybody's hanging out on the porch.
Porch party.
Family hangout on the porch.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Riding the tricycle.
Who's on the tricycle? Oh, Grandma?
Yeah.
I bet it is.
Old bonnet.
I bet you it is.
Old bonnet. So Ron grabs one of the crucifixes that they had inside of the house. Why do you have a random crucifix lying around? I don't know. But he does.
Protection.
So, I mean, I have got crosses throughout my house, but like a random one?
I don't know that I have a singular one in my house.
Oh, I do. But I've been given them. Like every time I like move and do stuff, everyone's like, here's a cross, here's a cross. But he goes and he takes the crucifix and he hangs it on the porch and everything stops. After this, Ron gets it all to stop, but they're like, hell no, we're not staying here. Peace out. They go and wake the kids up in their pajamas, get them in the car, and they drive an hour outside of the town where Ron's dad had a cabin.
Okay.
It's a 1-bedroom cabin where all 8 of them, well, 9 now because she had a baby, they're all staying in this cabin together. And the only reason that they ever had to leave that cabin, once they finally got comfortable, they like stayed there for the weekend, had some reprieve, is they still had to go to school and work and all of these things. So like you can't be that far away. So they do have to go back home. But they're terrified to go back home.
Yeah, now they've been out of the place. The ghosts are probably running rampant at this point.
Yeah, this is our house now.
Yeah.
Or again, it's back to being ours. So they do, unfortunately, have to go back. And everything kind of returns to normal. They're trying to like hope that the pattern is better this time. Because like I mentioned, sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's a lot and no time. Like it just varies. And everything falls back into place. Ron's going to work. Kids are going to school. Life is just like resuming. But one night, Janet found herself awoken in the middle of the night. And when she rolled over, Nancy.
I was like, maybe Janet's there babysitting again. I don't know. It's Nancy. I just want to make
Nancy, sure. But it's because I'm reading my script. And Nancy wakes up to find the figure of the old lady in the bonnet that Janet had seen standing at the end of their bed. Gross.
So now Grandma's being a freak.
Yeah, there's too much. There's too much going on.
Did anything happen or does she just see Grandma standing there?
Oh no, she just was standing there with hatred again. As she's Janet bitter. Had mentioned. So she's
bitter,
just
scary ass old lady.
Just grumpy.
It's the worst
mad.
kind.
Yeah, that's the scariest kind. But she said the same thing. She just disappeared, like stared at you, like she wanted to
Kill you.
eat your face off, and then disappeared. And that clearly made her stay awake the rest of the night. Clearly, like that would definitely keep me up for the rest of the night as well. And Nancy at this point is like, we've got to move. I can't do this. I'm over it. The kids don't need to be doing this. You don't need to be doing it. We all got to go.
We got to go.
But they have to like think about this strategically. They list the house for them on the market. They know it's not going to sell quick. It is fixed up a little bit, but it's still, so they know it's going to take time. So Ron had asked one of his coworkers, have you ever experienced anything? Do you know anyone who has ever experienced anything? Like, is there anything we can do beyond what we've already done? Basically. And Ron's coworker was like, no, you should reach out to the Baltimore Sun, though. There's a guy who writes about this stuff. So he has experiences clearly. So maybe you could talk to him and just see what he has to say. And it's this guy named A.W. Gieselman. And he talked to Ron, and Ron was like, hey, but please don't mention like the address. Please don't mention our names. We're trying to sell the house. I don't need anyone scrutinizing me for what I'm going through. My wife doesn't need it. My kids don't need it. And the guy was like, yeah, of course.
Weaselman.
No. Yeah, Weaselman.
Uh-huh.
The article comes out and definitely has their names, definitely has the address of the house, all of the things. So selling the house is about to get a little bit more difficult.
Thank you, reporter man.
Yeah, thank you for that. And Ron also said at this point in time, people did kind of mess with him and were, messing around, like farting on him and stuff like that. Not really, you know what I mean? Like farting around. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like farting around.
Yeah, sure.
Farting on him. I'm losing my mind.
I've never heard that. Like,
me neither. I don't know why I said it. Oh, gosh.
it was so serious. I thought you were serious. Like, I thought that was what he had reported.
People just keep farting on me.
I'm sorry, I'm 12 years old.
I'm so tired.
I'm crying.
I need coffee.
Oh my God.
No. People are just messing with him and then like shitting on him. How about that? People are like giving him really a hard time.
God.
But people are giving him a hard time. So
It's not funny. I'm sorry, Ron. But at the end of the day, it's not funny, is it?
It's not funny, is it? Not funny, isn't it? Anyways, so he's just that's all a mess. And they're still trying to sell the house, but he said like even the neighbors are like, ugh, like great, now you brought all this to the neighborhood and you're doing this and you're lying, whatever. That's the whole thing.
Farting on him.
You're farting on him. They're farting on him. That's what I meant. Right there. Farting on him. That's it right there. They're just giving him a hard time. But things in the house are still continuing because they're still there.
They're still there.
So Nancy has this dream, and it's not her same repeating dream she normally has. This dream, she finds herself standing in the upstairs hallway, and there's smoke drifting throughout all of the bedrooms. And so she's trying to race from room to room, get all the kids, trying to get them out of the house. Whatever. There's a trap. There's a fire that's trapped them inside. And on the other side of the flames of the fire that has them trapped inside, she can see the elderly woman standing there smiling.
Oh.
Not trying to help.
She's, getting what she wants.
Yeah, not being nice. And it seemed like, again, one of those dreams where they were happy that they were scaring her. And she had this dream for 4 nights in a row. The exact same dream over and over and over again. And not long after that, she walked into the kitchen and actually could smell natural gas, which is
oh shit,
clearly not good. She called Ron. Ron had someone come check it. And when the technician arrived, there was a gas line in the basement that had come loose, like a hose had come loose. So if at any point in time someone in that house had tried to light a candle or
they would have blown up.
Yeah, if Ron smoked cigars, anything that had to have lit a match. That dream could have come true.
Oh my God.
Very quickly.
That's scary.
So whether the natural gas thing was
coincidental,
we don't know.
Woo. Spook.
So they're convinced. They're like, we've got to get out of this house, whatever it takes. That's too much. We already felt that way.
Something's trying to kill us.
But now we got to go. And so Nancy spent hours at the local library reading every book she could, finding every book she could that had anything to do with ghosts, hauntings, psychics, anything. She was like, I need information. I need to get out of here. She found a book by a man named Hans Holzer, and she was like, you know what? I'm going to write to him and see if he responds because he does like paranormal investigations. She was like, I'm going to write to him, see if he responds. If he doesn't, that sucks. If he does, great.
Yeah.
She sent him something because inside of one of his books actually did have the mailing address to him. And weeks passed, then months, nothing. She didn't hear anything back until one day he just showed up. He just showed up to their house.
He's like, hey.
Yeah, I'm here. And he brought a medium with him named Ethel Johnson Myers.
Ethel.
He said that he couldn't do anything without her, and he thinks that any haunting, you should have a medium to be able to explain what's going on. Like, you can't just...
I feel like they used to all do that a lot back in the day. Like, that's what they would use.
Oh, yeah. Well, he had said, like, you can have all this equipment. It's not going to give you the answers you need. Like, you need your medium here with you. So Nancy agreed. She's like, come on in. Let's do this. Like, let's figure it out. And as soon as she crossed the threshold, I'm going to call her Ethel. She just paused and she looked around the foyer and she said, there's definitely more than one presence in this house.
For sure.
So they went room to room and she said, there's definitely multiple, but there's one that's calling to me right now. So they went to the second floor, and once they reached Ron and Nancy's bedroom, she said, I need to go in there by myself. There's a man in there.
Had your kids, had your wife.
Yes. And that's definitely what Nancy has experienced, is certainly a man in there.
Yeah.
And when she emerged a short time later, she said that there was a man in there named Louis Fontenille. And that he was a soldier who had once occupied the property many years before the current house existed, and that he was probably connected to the Civil War. But that was all she really got on Louis at that time. She just said that he was probably a soldier, and he was either more of a residual energy, and that's why like you would hear the footsteps walking up and down the hallway and stuff like that, and just like living the life he had once lived. But to me, that doesn't really make sense because the house wasn't there most likely when he was existing there.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't know about residual energy.
Yeah.
And he seems much more intelligent than that to me, especially like opening the bedroom door of the child and potentially being the one standing over Nancy. Yeah. So to me, it sounds much more intentional than that.
Yeah.
But either way, Ethel continued through the house, and she also got the name Kittinger, like Kittinger,
Kittinger.
She said this presence felt angry and believed that it was an elderly woman who had once lived on the property decades before the Stallings. She explained that the woman still believed that the land belonged to her and didn't recognize Ron and Nancy as owners, but in her mind, they were trespassers or potentially even servants that weren't listening to her.
Right.
And that's why whenever she would try and communicate what she wanted them to do or whatever the house was supposed to be, like, that's why she would get so angry with them.
Because nobody was listening.
No one was listening. They weren't supposed to be there. It was just not what she had wanted.
Yeah.
There's also another name that comes up, and it's John Thompson. The medium couldn't explain exactly who he was, only that he was associated with Kittinger and blamed him for something that happened to her in her lifetime. So she blamed
She
him.
had her own
issues. Yes.
Ugh.
And before concluding the investigation, the family asked Ethel and Hans, they're like, are we in danger? Do we need to leave? Like, we feel like there's a lot going on that we are in danger. There's definitely some weird stuff happening. She said, I don't think you're in danger from Lewis, and that she believed that Lewis was actually trying to protect the family.
Okay.
Which would also kind of make sense if he's like walking the hallways at night and doing the boots, footsteps, and stuff like that. So maybe. And one of the reasons that the medium believed this is she said whenever she saw him, like she could see these figures, she said whenever she saw him, he would be standing between her and the angry woman. So like a barrier.
Yeah.
And so that's why he potentially had believed that. And again, they offered some like prayers, tried to kind of make the house feel a little bit more comfortable before they left. And it did feel a little bit lighter. It didn't feel as heavy. But the last thing that happened before they were able to sell the house, because they did end up finding someone through the listing. It was a young couple who was enthusiastic about buying a haunted house. They were excited about that. They like wanted that, you know. One of the last things that happened is Louis came to Nancy and said, whenever you leave this house, leave it for good, because I am also going to leave this house. Like, I've already protected you. I've done what I can. And whenever you leave it for good. Don't come back because I won't be here to protect you next time.
Okay.
And that was one of Nancy's last experiences in that.
She's like, you don't have to tell me twice.
Yeah. So they got to pack up their van, their 7 kids, all of their belongings, and move out of this house that had Kittinger and Louis and
John Peterson.
John
or Thompson.
or Tom Johnson, whatever it is. Yeah. They were able to leave these spirits behind, except for Louis Fontenelle said
He's
was
like,
leaving
I'm
as
out.
well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And what's really weird is actually that Nancy's cousin that originally had come in the beginning, like the lawyer guy who was like walked up halfway up the stairs, and whenever she told him the story with all the names and whatever when they were moving, he went into public records and started digging around, and he actually did find that there was someone in the army named Louis Fontenelle who died during the Civil War in that area. And he also was able to find that there was someone who owned property in that location in 1797 named Eileen Kittinger.
Eileen. Yeah, that's a crazy fucking old lady name.
A scary old lady name.
Sorry.
No, it is. It is true. And so he was able to say, like, connect the dots. And whether Hans and Ethel had done their research prior and found all of this information and then just like played it out, but it did match what was going on in the house.
Yeah.
So
the energy itself that they...
Yeah, like it matched that there was one man that they kept hearing footsteps and kind of seeing the shadow of and started seeing in the dreams. And then
this angry lady.
Nancy seeing the angry lady not only in her dream, but also standing in her room. And Janet had seen her. And so it all did actually track with the names that they were given.
Well, so yeah, because even if they had the names, just the names, they could have reversed those energies and it wouldn't have made as much sense.
Yeah.
You know, like they could have said, oh, well, this guy's a bad energy and the old lady's trying to protect. Like, no, she's pissed off about something. She's mad. She's angry. So like, you know.
She was able to piece it together correctly.
Yeah.
So whether you want to believe in a psychic coming in but you know, they probably gave up, but they probably also told part of their story too. And were like, so she could have she could have gone in with the history and then them given the story. We don't know.
Yeah.
Or it could have been very legit.
Yeah.
But that's the story of the Stallings family haunting.
Oh. And they just moved on and
they were able to escape, get out of there.
I wonder what happened to that house.
And to the next family.
Well, they wanted to buy a haunted house. Maybe they were
loving it.
Yeah.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm loving it.
Copyrighted. Yeah, they probably, I don't know anything about them. I didn't.
Well, that's probably a whole nother can of worms.
Didn't even open that one. But
whole nother can of worms.
That's
a good story.
It was a spooky one. It was a weird one. I don't like the idea. I think what stuck with me on it, because I watched quite a few episodes of A Haunting before I figured out which one I wanted to follow. And I just really don't like the imagery of old ladies. And we talked about that in the last episode. I don't either. So
yeah.
I was like, this is it. This is the one.
Scary, spooky.
Spooky, scary.
Yeah. Hello. And the thought of like anytime an entity becomes physical is scary to me.
Yeah.
But in something in that sort of fashion, you don't really hear a lot. And that's like really unsettling.
I do think it's more interesting, though, that it actually was happening to the parents more than the children. Alan was Alan was also the only kid that was like 7.
He was old enough to realize something scary was happening.
Yeah, he was old enough. All the other kids are probably too young to like really, like they knew, but weren't like probably.
They're probably like, that's my friend.
Yeah, so it didn't really focus as much on them. But I definitely think it's interesting that it happens so much to the parents, because normally it's the other way around where the kids are like, this is happening.
And the parents don't believe you.
Yeah, and the parents are like, maybe.
Yeah, whatever.
That is one thing I do wish when we lived in our like most haunted house,
that we would have
like a psychic or someone come in.
Well,
to try and understand or explain, because there was more than one spirit in that house.
Yeah. And like that we would have even at least like shared those experiences, because we didn't ever really.
No.
I mean, even my mom said, I never realized that you guys had so much happen to y'all in that house.
Yeah, that we were so scared.
Yeah. Like we didn't tell them because we were scared of everything, to be fair.
But no, yeah. It was when we were on our girls trip, your mom was like, I didn't realize it, but your mom was feeling it too. And I know our dad felt it.
Yeah.
But I don't think any of us
none of us ever communicated it to each other.
No.
It was kind of like how this family was in the beginning, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because
it took us until we started this podcast, though, for our parents to know that that house scared us.
That we were so scared of that house, but so were they.
Yeah.
But yeah, to know that then that we were all experiencing kind of these weird things, to have somebody come in would have been.
It would have been really cool, because I definitely know there was a little girl in that house.
Mm-hmm.
Was it actually a little girl, though? We don't know.
Yeah.
But we definitely experienced a little girl multiple times. That's even what, like, my dad had another family move in after, like, y'all moved out, and the little boy who was 4, and you know, little kids are way more in tune.
Yeah.
He had asked me what little girl was in my closet with me, and I was like,
None. Zero.
And so there was definitely, but our dad also thought it was a little girl.
Mm-hmm. But there was also something dark in there. So who's to say that that wasn't the same thing? Mimicking something else?
Yeah.
Like disguising itself as something else every once in a while? But like when it wasn't masking is when you could tell that it was like dark. So it could have been 2 different things, or it could have been the
just
same.
One very large evil.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a lot. You'll have to listen to other episodes to hear our haunting stories.
Yeah.
That, like, we've described what we're talking about right now. In detail. Other episodes, earlier episodes. I couldn't even tell you. Maybe I can do some research and maybe put it on the screen. But yeah, it was definitely one of our earlier episodes. We explained the houses that we were raised in, and the ghosts that we saw, and the spirits that we had throughout our house. And like, we have a family ghost named Gus, and like, we explained his story and like his origins and stuff like that. So you'll find those episodes for sure. But that was the Stallings family haunting.
I liked it.
It was spooky.
Good stuff, brings us back to our roots.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a good one. That's what my nephew had said. You need to do this, 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 and this. And I said, I need to do a family haunting, and then I can go any other route. But like, that's what I need to do next. Yeah. And he was like, okay.
I'm here for it. You're like, don't worry. We've got plenty of episodes to do.
I said, I will get there. But like, I said, I'll add yours to the list, and I'll come back to your list. But this is what I need to do this week. If you have any recommendations, stories you'd like to hear, if you have any of your own stories, like your own listener stories, it can be about scary encounters with real life people. It could be about ghosts. It could be about UFOs. It could be about legends, cryptid lore, anything. Send it to sistersofthestrangepodcast@gmail.com. In our show notes, we have our Discord, our Patreon, our TikTok, Instagram, all of the things. I think most of y'all are on those platforms at this point in time. But if you're not and you want to go join in the show notes of every episode, that is where you can find those links. And I think that's all I've got.
Yeah. Let us know what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of, what you want to hear about, what you don't want to hear about.
Yeah.
We're here for it. Here for all of it. Glad you guys are here.
Yeah. That's all you got?
That's all I got.
All right. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Sisters of the